Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys, and holding the standard. And in this video, I'm going to have to set the record straight on Stephen A. Smith. We're going to have to educate, I guess, Stephen A. Smith because, listen, man, Stephen A. Smith, like, the dude claims to know a lot about basketball's history, right? He claims to be a student of the game and, know this stuff. He's been watching basketball and involved around basketball for years, man. All these years, right? He played basketball. He covered basketball, 30, 40 years. I don't even know. But yet and still, Stephen A. Smith does not come across to me as a guy that is always, knows what he's talking about. He never really seems to educate people really when he has opportunities. He's not educating his viewers. And we're going to talk about in this video because I saw a clip from yesterday, I believe it was from yesterday's ESPN First Take show. And, it was almost like, he's just capping hard about James Harden. That's what we're going to focus on this video. He was talking about James Harden because Dwayne Wade made some comments, and basically saying that, they were talking about MVPs versus championships, and is Dwayne Wade or James Harden, ranked higher as far as the shooting guards in NBA's history. And Dwayne Wade was basically saying, like, listen, man, I'm not on the level, of some of the greats. I'm a Hall of Famer, but I'm not on the top floor. And he said something about, Bill Russell and those guys on the 30th floor. I'm maybe on the 25th floor because I don't have the championships, all the MVPs of those guys. So they're in another league. He said they're in a class of their own. And I agree with that. But Stephen A. Smith doesn't believe that. And Stephen A. Smith, was camping for James Harden, bringing up James Harden and, putting him up there in a realm that he's not in. And we're going to talk about this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled by all the support, man. It really means a lot, guys. For real, man. Shout out to everybody in the membership. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to talk briefly, about this clip that I saw yesterday. I saw it on YouTube. It's from ESPN First Take. Now, I do not watch ESPN First Take anymore. I don't watch any basketball or any ESPN basketball programs. I just don't do it. I mean, who wants to listen to Malika Andrews or Richard Jefferson or Kendrick Perkins? Who wants to listen to these guys, Brian Windhorst or any of these clowns out here that think that they know about the NBA? Because they might know about the last couple of years of NBA. They might be able to tell you about some of the current plays in the NBA. But a lot of these people don't know the history of the NBA. They don't know. They don't respect the history of the NBA. So they can't give you any historical perspective. They're not giving you any perspective here. I always tell you guys, I remember when I was watching basketball growing up, not even just basketball, whatever sport it was, you're watching the broadcast. The people, the broadcasters, the announcers, they educated you by giving you historical context. So like I told you, no matter what Michael Jordan was doing in the NBA in the 90s, they always made it a point to let you know about Wilt Chamberlain. To let you know, listen, man, Wilt Chamberlain was doing other things that no one can sniff. So I told you what, there was always an asterisk by whatever Michael Jordan did to qualify it. So, and the asterisk said, right, in the bottom, they'd have in small writing, and it would say, the asterisk would say, since the ABA-NBA merger. That's how they were able to qualify a lot of what Michael Jordan was doing. Because they knew that if you brought in before the merger, then you would have to include Wilt Chamberlain. And the things that he was doing on the court statistically were out of this world. But that's how they gave you historical perspective and context. They let you know what Wilt Chamberlain was doing. They didn't gloss over Wilt Chamberlain or hide it or not include the asterisk and not let you know about Wilt Chamberlain. They told you about what Wilt Chamberlain was doing. So as great as Michael Jordan was, and we all know that, scoring the basketball in the 90s, some of the things that he was doing, they had to put it in perspective to what Wilt Chamberlain did in the other eras. So once again, they educated us. Never saw Wilt Chamberlain play a day in my life, guys. Never saw him play basketball live. Didn't watch Wilt Chamberlain growing up. But I knew about Wilt Chamberlain when I was young because they educated us. They let us know about these guys, right? That was their job. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the burden was on them, and they took it serious. Now, these guys are not there to educate you. None of these people, these talking heads, they're there just to simply promote this era of NBA, but at the expense of the other eras. So they can't pump this era up while promoting past eras. It won't work like that for them. And they don't know how to do that. So what do? They promote that these guys are bigger, stronger, faster. These guys today are more skilled. And then they'll have you believe, oh, well, those guys had side jobs. They weren't really that great. And then they'll make fun of the way these guys dribbled or the shorts that they wore or how they looked. They'll be, oh, look at all these guys. Those guys weren't athletes. This is what they say. This is how they tear down the other eras and lift these guys up. When in previous eras, you were only great because you were being compared to greatness. So the guys in the 70s were compared to the greatness of the 60s and the 50s. Same thing with the 80s and the 90s. You're being held to the standard of the previous eras. You're judged and viewed against the greatness of those guys. They weren't saying, Dr. J wasn't that great. He wasn't really that good. Michael Jordan's on another level. I never heard anyone say that. Maybe you guys heard someone say that where you were from. I never heard anyone say that about Dr. J. What I remember hearing, which is why I have respect for Dr. J to this day, what I remember hearing people say, like my father and others, is that there would be no Michael Jordan without Dr. J, how that was their Michael Jordan. Dr. J was their version of Michael Jordan. And I told you, when I listened to Dr. J speak, he talks about Elgin Baylor and how he wanted to be like Elgin Baylor. He practiced Elgin Baylor's moves on the court when he was a kid. He inspired him. He didn't say, oh, you didn't hear people say, well, Dr. J was on another level. Elgin Baylor wasn't really good. He wasn't that great. The era he played in was weak. He went against a bunch of white dudes and stuff. I never heard anyone say that. Now this is all you hear. Michael Jordan wasn't great. Look at the era he played in. They excused Michael Jordan's 6-0 record by saying he played no competition. All of a sudden now, all the legends that I remember watching growing up, those guys are not legends. They're not all-time greats. They're just okay. They're so-so. Now Scottie Pippen is the second greatest player of the 90s. That's how Michael Jordan was able to win all those championships, because he was playing with the second greatest player of his era. That's what they want you to believe. That's not the case, guys. You guys know that. I know that. So this is called setting the record straight. They're rewriting history, bending reality. So I'm listening to Stephen A. Smith talk, and like I said, they're interviewing. It was an interview that they were reacting to from Dwayne Wade. I don't remember where the interview was from or where it was at that he was being asked these questions, and they were talking about championships versus MVPs. And like I said, it was in relation to a Dwayne Wade versus James Harden kind of deal, because we all know that James Harden doesn't have any championships, but he has an MVP on his resume. And that's why I tell you guys, this era of NBA is an absolute joke. James Harden won an MVP in this era, the 2010s. He ain't win no MVPs in any other eras, and we've done this. We broke this down. Those are the facts, guys. Dwayne Wade never won an MVP, but to me, I'll take Dwayne Wade over James Harden every day, all day. So Dwayne Wade was basically saying, and he was being humble. Much respect to Dwayne Wade, man, for showing a lot of humility in this comment that he was making. And he was basically talking about Hall of Fame. And he was saying, listen, man, they're Hall of Famers, right? We're all Hall of Famers. He's like, but there's levels to the Hall of Fame, right? You have how many people you have in the Hall of Fame. But he was talking about how, I can't go to the top floor with those guys. There's different levels. And he was saying the Bill Russells, the Michael Jordans, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. He was saying Bill Russell's on the 30th floor. I'm on the 25th floor. I'm not able to get to that 30th floor because I did not reach that level. So I'm an all-time great. He's saying I'm a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not on that level. There's levels to the Hall of Fame. And I think we all agree on this. Just because you're in the Hall of Fame doesn't mean you're on the same level. So you're going to sit there and tell me that Tim Hardaway, who made the Hall of Fame, is on the same level as Michael Jordan? No, not even close. The Hall of Fame, guys, is a benchmark. You're a Hall of Famer. But there are levels to Hall of Fame. There are different wings. We've talked about this. You guys have heard people mention these things. And that's in all sports. In all sports, guys. So, like, if we think about the Hall of Fame in, football, let's say, you're trying to tell me that every player that's in the Hall of Fame is on the same level? That's not true. That's not true at all, guys. So once again, Jim Brown and Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, these are Hall of Fame running backs. Probably the greatest running backs in NFL's history. They're not on the same level of some of these other guys that are in the Hall of Fame, like Terrell Davis. Great running back, Terrell Davis, but he's not on that level. And that's not a knock on him. That's the facts. That's how it goes. So Dwayne Wade was very humble and basically giving Bill Russell his props, saying, listen, man, I'm not on that level with those guys. Because, like I told you, if you think about the guys that you would consider for a top 10 all time, right? Is Dwayne Wade in that conversation? No, he's not in that conversation. Nowhere near that conversation for top 10 all time. So he understands that. And then he goes Stephen A. Smith responding to what Dwayne Wade was saying and saying, oh, Dwayne Wade, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You're not giving yourself enough credit. You're on the 30th floor with Bill Russell and those guys because you're a champion. And I laughed at that. I'm like, how is that possible? Dwayne Wade's on the same level as Bill Russell? No, he's not. No, on that level. Once again, Dwayne Wade understood this, and he spoke facts. And then it came time for Stephen A. Smith to once again second that notion and basically confirm what Dwayne Wade was saying. Show some humility. And once again, educate people out there. But does he do that? No. So Stephen A. Smith proceeds to start talking about Dwayne Wade selling himself short, that he belongs on the 30th floor with those guys. No, he does not. He doesn't belong on that floor with those guys. He understands that Stephen A. Smith doesn't get that stuff. But then he takes it even a step further. Like I said, when they're talking about the James Harden versus Dwayne Wade, and then he says that James Harden is one of the all-time great scorers in NBA history, which I laughed at also, because where's all that scoring prowess in the postseason for James Harden? He's literally one of the biggest chokers in postseason history, in NBA's history, guys. That's James Harden. So really, how great is your scoring prowess when in the postseason, in big moments, your scoring's not there? It's just not there. Look at his shooting percentages. This man's shooting like 40%, 42%, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34% from three-point range. I'm not impressed with James Harden and all those free throws that he was flopping for. I mean, are you kidding me? This dude was flopping all over the court for free throws. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2009 is an absolute joke. Those 3-4 years when James Harden won 3 consecutive scoring titles by shooting 1 billion free throws, by flopping all over the court and doing 3, 4, 5-step step back threes, that shows him being one of the all-time great scorers in NBA's history, Stephen A. Smith. And then what does Stephen A. Smith does? He continues to jump out the window and cap hard for James Harden instead of, once again, staying, once again, like I said, and staying and educating these people and staying even here. And not, not being a prisoner of the moment. And I don't know why these guys just can't be honest and just be factual. They always got to cap for guys and lie and bend reality to make these guys look greater than they are. It's almost like, they're worried to critique these guys. They don't want to do it. So Stephen A. Smith starts to talk about, James Harden's right there behind Dwayne Wade. He said, we all know Dwayne Wade's the 3rd greatest shooting guard of all time. You have Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and then Dwayne Wade, in my opinion. He goes, and then you have James Harden right after him. He's right there with those guys. I started laughing out loud. Once again, Stephen A. Smith, you're supposed to be a guy who's been watching the NBA. Listen, I've been watching NBA since 87, 88. If I can remember a lot of this stuff when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, all this stuff that we remember, how the hell can Stephen A. Smith not remember this stuff from the 80s, this stuff from the 90s, from the 2000s, the 2010s? How does he not remember this stuff? How do you not even know time before that? The 50s, the 60s, the 70s. You should be a student of this stuff. You should know this should be second nature to someone like Stephen A. Smith, who spent his entire life covering basketball. So you put James Harden right behind Dwayne Wade. He's right there with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. James Harden. That's insane. And then he said this. He goes, you could maybe throw Oscar Robertson. We all know about Oscar Robertson and what he could do. Oscar Robertson's not a shooting guard. See, and this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm talking about. You're not educating anyone. You're not being honest. You're being disingenuous. When you're being disingenuous and you're always lying for people, you come across as a stupid person, as having no integrity. And I've talked to you guys about Stephen A. Smith. He sold his integrity a long time ago in many different ways. But you bring up Oscar Robertson, basically saying, Oscar Robertson and, James Harden, he's right there with him. Oscar Robertson's a point guard, man. He's a point guard. I always hear Oscar Robertson brought up as point guards. And they're great point guards. You see Oscar Robertson, he plays the point guard position. He's listed as a point guard. Now, James Harden has been listed as a shooting guard and a point guard. Over the last, 3 or 4 years now, he's played mostly the quote-unquote point guard position. But when James Harden was doing what he was doing in Houston, OKC as a bench player, sixth man, he was a shooting guard. When he won his MVP in 2018, he was a shooting guard. So most people consider James Harden a shooting guard. If I had to rank him, I would rank him as a shooting guard. So let's just get that out the way off the jump. Oscar Robinson is a shooting guard. I've never heard or seen anyone rank Oscar Robinson as a shooting guard. Now, we know Oscar Robinson could score the basketball. One of the great scoring point guards, if not the greatest scoring point guard in the NBA's history, up there with Steph Curry. These guys can score the basketball. But once again, just because you could do a bunch of things like Oscar Robinson could do, like rebound and play make, doesn't make you a shooting guard. He was a point guard. So let's be clear here, all right? I don't know what Stephen A. Smith's talking about. So he's not educating the people right there, not being us, but you just bring up Oscar Robinson, you don't bring up anyone else. See, this is what I'm talking about. Even if you think that James Harden is right after Dwayne Wade, the fourth greatest shooting guard of all time, like you're stating, he's right there with Dwayne Wade. He's with those guys. I don't know how, but if you're saying that, once again, you should be once again letting everyone else know about the other great shooting guards in NBA's history. You should be bringing those guys up to educate the people out there. And like I said, let them form their own opinion off of the facts you give them. So give them some perspective, some historical context, and say, listen, man, we all know that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant are the greatest shooting guards of all time, right? That's not even a question. After that, you have guys like Dwayne Wade, Jerry West, who didn't even bring up Jerry West. And once again, Jerry West is like a James Harden, where he's played point guard and shooting guard in his career. But most people view Jay West as a shooting guard. That's how he played the game mostly, as a shooting guard, right? But he had great playmaking skills, great ball handling ability. So he was a point guard and a shooting guard in different times of his career. But he did not mention Jerry West, but he mentioned Oscar Robertson. Didn't mention Jerry West, Stephen A. Smith. So are those the only shooting guards in NBA's history that Stephen A. Smith knows? Oscar Robertson, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan? You didn't bring up Clyde Drexler, who to me is greater than James Harden. Clyde Drexler, once again, led a team by himself, right? He, as a leader of the team, he led his Portland Trailblazers to 2 NBA Finals. 2. James Harden never led his Houston Rockets to a single NBA Finals. And listen, I don't want to hear about the Rockets versus the Warriors in 2018. I don't want to hear about the Warriors team. I don't want to hear about it. This same Warriors team that was getting blown out by Kawhi Leonard's Spurs in 2017, they needed a Zaza Pachulia, dirty play to stop them from getting blown off the court by Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge and the Spurs. They were not as unbeatable as people try to make it seem. These are excuses that they make for James Harden. I don't want to hear about Chris Paul's injury. The Rockets were up 3 games to 2. They lost the last 2 games in a row, and they had Game 7 in Houston. Remember, they had home court advantage that season. That was James Harden's MVP year, his best season. Where was James Harden in Game 7? Where was he in Game 6? Out there breaking up shots. That's where he was. Not making a damn shot. But Stephen A. Smith going to talk about he's one of the great scorers in NBA's history. He's a regular season hero, a regular season warrior. James Harden ain't the same guy in the postseason. You can watch the game and look at the numbers. It's all there, guys. His numbers go down drastically in the postseason. His game, when you watch the game, goes drastically. So he'll have a game where maybe he has a good game, and then he'll have 2 bad games in a row. That's classic James Harden. Look how many turnovers James Harden has for his career. The man averages like 4 turnovers a game for his career. It's a joke, man. James Harden has 2 assist titles on his resume. 2 assist titles. And in one of those assist titles, he played 58 games. So once again, by the new standards, that wouldn't qualify. He would not be qualified for an assist title. But he got an assist title for playing 58 games in 2022, I believe that was. What an absolute joke. No one's impressed with James Harden's career. Nobody. But Stephen A. Smith apparently was. He just kept capping for James Harden. Capping for James Harden, not making any sense. Dwayne Wade does not belong in the same conversation or the same level as Bill Russell. When you think about the Bill Russell, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the Tim Duncans, the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, the Jerry West, the Dr. J's, the Will Chamberlains. When you think about these guys, those players that I mentioned, Oscar Robertson, maybe a Moses Malone, Shaquille O'Neal, these great players that might be a top 10, top 15. When you think about a lot of these guys, man, once again, Dwayne Wade's not on that level. He's not on the level of those guys. No one's arguing, Dwayne Wade's top 10, top 15-ish. No, he's not. No, he's nowhere near that. To me, Dwayne Wade's probably maybe top 30, somewhere around there to me, at best. I don't believe he's any higher than that. And that's not a knock on him, but I do believe Dwayne Wade's a top 5 shooting guard. I told you, to me, it's Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Jerry West, Dwayne Wade, and then I would probably have Clyde Drexler. But let's go a little bit further now with Stephen A. Smith not educating the people. So we brought Clyde Drexler. To me, Clyde Drexler, a greater athlete. Now, we've gone over this stuff. Then James Harden, just a better overall shooting guard. Rebounding-wise, right? Defensively, give me Clyde Drexler. Like I said, he has athletic ability, finishing above or under the rim. Give me Clyde Drexler around the rim. James Harden might be a better shooter than Clyde Drexler. Okay, no doubt about it. He might be a better passer than Clyde Drexler, but Clyde Drexler was not a bad passer. He was actually a pretty solid playmaker. Clyde Drexler had a season, I can't remember, it was 89 or 88 or 19, whatever, average 86 per game. 86 per game for a shooting guard. Outstanding. So Clyde Drexler, man, to me, who's probably, like I said, the greatest offensive rebounding shooting guard, look at Clyde Drexler's offensive rebounding numbers versus James Harden's offensive rebounding numbers. And we all know James Harden playing this weak, soft era. Clyde Drexler's a greater athlete, give greater effort on both sides of the ball, man. Give me Clyde Drexler. But Stephen A. Smith didn't mention Clyde Drexler. He couldn't even give Clyde Drexler any credit. Like I said, even if you think James Harden is right behind Dwayne Wade, but you bring up Oscar Robertson, you don't bring up Jerry West, you don't bring up Clyde Drexler, you don't bring up Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is shooting guard. You don't bring up Allen Iverson. And you covered Allen Iverson. He always talks about that. Oh, yeah, I started in Philadelphia covering the Sixers. I was with Allen Iverson. I know Allen Iverson very well. I covered him very well. I covered him very closely, blah, blah. But you don't bring up Allen Iverson in this scenario? Give me Allen Iverson scoring over James Harden scoring, man. I'm not impressed with James Harden scoring in this weak, soft, flopping era. This dude flopped all over the court on plays for these scoring titles. Traveling all over the court. So, yeah, we know Allen Iverson might have been getting away with a little bit of a carry when he played, right? That's when things start to get a little bit, more of a hand on the side of the ball, almost under it. But are we really going to compare that to what James Harden gets away with in this era? The 3-step dropbacks he was getting away with? Remember hooking his arm under people to try to flop and draw these fouls? He brought the game down. The game was terrible when James Harden was doing that. Nobody wanted to watch that stuff. Allen Iverson made the game exciting. You wanted to watch Allen Iverson play. Who wants to watch James Harden play? No one. But he didn't mention Allen Iverson as far as shooting guards go in NBA's history. Give me Allen Iverson over James Harden, guys. That's just the facts, man. The facts. He didn't mention Reggie Miller. You're not going to bring up Reggie Miller? One of the great shooting guards in NBA's history that you covered these guys in the 80s and the 90s. Like, I'm saying, like, you don't even bring up Reggie. Once again, even if you think James Harden's greater than Reggie Miller, you can't bring them up to give them some shine, to educate the people out there. Instead, you want to cap and lie for James Harden and make up these scenarios or stories about James Harden's career. He's this and that. You sound insane. But you didn't bring up Reggie Miller, right, as a shooting guard. You didn't bring up Sam Jones. You couldn't educate people on Sam Jones and just bring these guys up and say, hey, man, Sam Jones was the most clutch player. He was known as Mr. Clutch before Jerry West was. So it gives you an opportunity to bring up several players here. You had that moment and you blew it, Stephen A. Smith. Instead, you decide to cap for James Harden and make up story. This dude said that James Harden's having a great season. James Harden's having a great season? He's having a great season? Really, is he? I didn't know James Harden was having a great season. But apparently Stephen A. Smith said James Harden's having a great season, even though he's shooting 40% from the field. 40%, James Harden. He's a hair above 39% for the field goal percentage, guys, in this week era. So once again, your field goal percentage is 40% now? Look at his three-point percentage. Not impressed either in this week era. Look how many turnovers he's averaging. This man's averaging 4.4 turnovers per game, James Harden. Stephen A. Smith says he's having an excellent season. Oh, he's having a great season this year. No, he's not. James Harden hasn't had a great season in a long time. He's been a burden on teams, and he's done nothing. Where was James Harden in Philadelphia? Where was James Harden in Brooklyn? Where was he? He was nowhere to be found. And where's he been to Clippers? He's been nowhere. I'm not impressed with James Harden in Clippers, but Stephen A. Smith say having a great season. Having a great season? Still don't play no defense. Still don't hustle out there on the court. Still can't play all 82 games. Still turn the ball at a high level. James Harden, he's in what, year 15? Year 16? And you still turn the ball over like that? Still can't play no D. Insane, man. Stephen A. Smith capping out here saying that James Harden's a top 5 shooting guard. And essentially, Stephen A. Smith, according to him, he's top 4. It's Dwayne Wade, then James Harden, according to Stephen A. Smith. That's what he comes with. Nonsense. Not educating a damn person out here, man. This is what happens, guys. This is why you can't watch ESPN to really learn anything about the game or to be educated, because they're going to continue to pump these guys up and celebrate these guys, but they won't give any context. Like I said, you have to tear down James Harden, but you give the other players their shine. You let people know about them. So like I said, you can only have a valid opinion if you're getting all of the facts and the information. You form your opinion off that. No matter what the facts are, we can come to different opinions based off the same facts, right? We have different minds. We see things differently. So give everyone the facts. Give these guys their shine. Talk about Clyde Drexler, right? Talk about Reggie Miller. Talk about Allen Iverson. Talk about Sam Jones. Talk about Jerry West, right? Talk about Iceman George Gervin. Come on, man. You're not going to bring the Iceman? One of the great scorers? And he didn't play this weak, soft era where he could travel all over the court and carry the ball all over the court. James Harden ain't done nothing in his career except win a fraudulent MVP and choke up a bunch of playoff series and not be in great shape, not play any defense, not be a leader. Clyde Drexler has better leadership. Jerry West, better leadership. Kobe, Michael Jordan, right? They had better leadership. Reggie Miller, they had better leadership. Hell, even Allen Iverson had better leadership than James Harden does. Are you kidding me? And Allen Iverson didn't even want to practice. These are the facts, guys. You guys know the deal, man. I told you, Stephen A. Smith, he ain't educating people out here. He's dropping the ball. He's not educating his viewers. They don't educate people anymore on TV. They just give you a bunch of narratives and emotional statements. This dude over here, Captain James Harden, Dwayne Wade kept it real. He kept it real. James Harden ain't on that level. He ain't got no championships to speak of. And he played with a lot of talent, James Harden, a lot of talent. And he choked it up many times. Many, many times, guys. But Stephen A. Smith going to talk about he's one of the great scorers. One of the great scorers of what? Of his era? Not of all time. Because like I said, where's that scoring prowess when it matters most? It ain't there. His scoring numbers are not impressive, guys. Guy's a flopper and a traveler at a high level. A carrier of the basketball at a high level. Just nothing else on the court at a high level, man. They was, oh, James Harden, he's a playmaker. He's a pass the ball. Stop it, man. Just stop. He's right behind Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is way better than James Harden, man. Because once again, Dwayne Wade was a two-way player. He led a team to a championship. My God, man. Reggie Miller led a team to a finals. All those years in Indiana. James Harden ain't sniffing this stuff, man. And like I said, go look at all the talent that James Harden's played with in his career. This guy's underachieved big time. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.